Thanks for tuning in to Upfront. I'm Falon Wagner, and on this edition, we're speaking with the two new faces of Lethbridge City Council. So to start off, we're talking with Mark Campbell. Thanks so much for joining us today, Mark.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. So to start off, if someone doesn't know who you are, maybe tell us a little bit about your background that led you into Lethbridge City Council.
Well, I've been in media for over 40 years. That's what I did for my entire career. And there came a point where you just sort of say, well, what's next? And there was an election, and with a lot of coaxing and some real encouragement. This is really outside my comfort zone. But people always talk about you got to experience that, or you have to go to those boundaries to see where you can get to. And so I made the decision. Yeah, this could be good. I've been around a long time. I understand Lethbridge, I think, and I thought I'd give it a shot. So that's where I got to.
And that's what made the decision to run for City Council?
Yeah, exactly.
And were you surprised at all by the election results or how the election process went?
Absolutely. Because there's always the incumbents, and there was going to be 7 incumbents, and I knew that Bridget had said that she wasn't going to run, so I thought maybe I have a shot at getting into that 8th position, and so I guess I did. I got in there. It was overwhelming and very humbling to get the most votes on council. And they always talk about name recognition, face recognition, and 40 years. And when I think back on it, that was kind of a 40-year audition to the people of Lethbridge to say, do you trust me? Do you accept what I've been doing? And so I think that had a lot to do with it. And I've certainly talked to a lot of people over the years. It's been a real fun ride, getting to know lots of the different various sides of the city, and just got to meet a lot of people, and I think that's what helped.
Absolutely. And did you find personally, were there any pressure that you felt from getting the highest number of votes?
Well, yeah, you don't want to let anybody down, when they say, well, yeah, you're going to do a great job. Are you sure? No, there's certainly, you don't want to let people down that put their faith in you. Yeah, so, I want to work hard to make sure that I do the right, make the right decisions, do as much research as I possibly can on every decision that's going to be made, and hopefully come up with the right one, or, the one I feel is the best.
And is there anything from your time on council so far that you've taken away or learned that you didn't expect necessarily coming in?
Well, I think the biggest thing that I find is that people here in administration, everyone who's on council, they care. They really do care, and they want to help you. There's no one that says, "Well, I'm not going to let Campbell have anything, get anything good." They all want is, what do you need? What do you want? What information do you need? We're here to help you, and that has been, the one main thing that I've realized, that this is a good group of people that really do care. And there's a lot of people that say, "Well, what do you give your head a shake?" But there's people really are they are invested in this city, and they want to make the best choices.
And in saying that, what would you personally like to accomplish during your time on City Council?
Well, certainly one of the things that I ran on is that I would, my love of the arts is prevalent, and I would so much love to see a performing arts center. I know that's a big ticket item. I'd like to figure out a way that we can make it happen, because I think it's really important for the city. As I often say, it is, we have a lot of heart here in the city, but we need the soul, and the Performing Arts Center gives you the soul of the city, and I firmly believe that, having had a lot of my life, in the arts.
And besides the Performing Arts Center, is there anything else that you think our city is in need of, or something that would add to the wonderful city we already have? Well,
those are a lot of things that we're looking at that are, we're going to go through this period of figuring out what we need the most, and there's a lot of things that are on the agenda, including, the safe ingestion site, which is happening. An in-talk center is really vital, I think, to the city. Housing is big, and that's one thing that that you find out when you get on council, you're on 8 committees now. So, and that's actually, it's a great thing because you really get to see various segments of the community and what's important. And you know, again, I'm on EDL, so you're finding out what's important, economic development here in Lethbridge, and there's all sorts of things that are in the works. And so, you know, bringing in more business to the city, that's important. And I'm finding out more and more that there's lots to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think is great about Lethbridge? I mean, obviously you love Lethbridge, you're on city council. About the city so far, right now, what do you think is great about Lethbridge? What do you love about it?
Well, I just, you know, it's a place for a family to grow up. I've lived here all my life. There's so many things that are here, you know. We've got the new recreational facilities that are happening there. So that's there's always something for you. And if it's not here, you've got a short drive to another. You know, whether you love the mountains or whether you want to get to a big city, you want to go to the States, you're a short drive away from it. So it's a happening place. You got the university, you got the college, you've got opportunities, and you know. Give or take 5 minutes, you're 10 minutes away from everything, and that's what I love about the city. Yeah, so it's a great place.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely agreed. Okay. And now this is a big question.
Right.
Would you ever run for mayor?
Would I ever run for mayor? I would say I would never, because I said never would I run for council. That is ridiculous. Don't even think about it. So I'll never say never, but that doesn't look to be in the cards, at least not right now. No, Mayor, no, that's I respect Mayor Spearman right now, and I think he's doing a spectacular job.
Awesome. And now let's walk through a regular day as a Lethbridge City Councillor. Can you do that for me?
Well, yeah, you know, depending on what committee you're in or whether or not it's a council day, so you're up. You know, you get a lot of information that you got to read. So I try to keep a few office hours here at City Council. I mean, it's not a full-time job, and I've pretty much walked away from. I was working with the Lethbridge Bulls, so I just realized that this is a big-time commitment. So I'm spending as much time as I can here at council, you know, in my office that's here, answering phone calls, answering emails, and learning about what we need to learn about, because there's so much.
Absolutely. And are there any interesting events that you've been to in the city during your time as a city councillor?
Yeah, it was really an amazing event. Heart. Gosh, maybe I'm getting. There's so many acronyms in this. This is where the Canada and U.S. get together to honor their people who have lost their life, you know, giving the ultimate sacrifice. And it was a tremendous ceremony at the Armories. I got to fill in for Mayor Spearman and bring greetings for the city of Lethbridge, and it was just really amazing. There was a number of people who were given these wreaths in honor because they lost their loved ones during, you know, in conflict, and it was just really emotional, and it's the biggest in North America, this thing. So to witness that was very, very cool.
Yeah, what a great event, and I think our city is really good about recognizing different groups of people.
Absolutely, yeah, very diverse.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And do you think, you touched on office hours a little bit earlier, do you think that the city council is good about being available to the public?
I absolutely do, yeah. You know, just depending on your choice of counselor, send them an email, send us something, a phone call. I would say, without fail, any of them will get back to you in one way or another. Yeah, I think very, very much so.
Awesome. And what would you say to someone who's maybe interested in city council? You know, you said you had some hesitations as well. What would you say to that person who's thinking about it?
Well, explore it. Think about it. What is it that you want to do? Is this something that is important to you? You know, just do some soul searching. And I totally would say, please go ahead, give it a shot.
Absolutely. And how do you feel about Lethbridge in terms of being a tourist destination?
Well, certainly we've got lots of things to offer here as well. You think about, you know, first comes to mind is this, you know, the amazing Japanese gardens. I've over the years when I was doing the Seen and Heard, I went there every year, and every time I went there, it was just like, boy, this is such a nice place. I just got to sit here and relax. So the Japanese Gardens is one of the many attractions that we have here. Just the city itself, the amenities we have. It's a go-to destination as far as I'm concerned. And down at Indian Battle Park, I've always loved growing up as a kid. Loved going down there. No, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah, we're nestled in a perfect spot.
I think so. Yeah.
And what types of events do you feel that Lethbridge would want to look into attracting that you think would be beneficial to the city?
Well, we've already allocated some funding to try to get the World Curling Championships, the Men's World Curling Championships. So that's like a $500,000 investment, which I think it's to me is a no-brainer. Like it's $7-8 million that they can bring in. We've got the University Games, the hockey championships. We're shooting for that. Unfortunately, we missed out on the fire games. That was too bad. But the things like that, I think we've got World Trampoline Championships coming here. There's all kinds of it. We've got golfing is coming. There's just all kinds of different events those are all good things that we can support and brings in money for the city.
Yeah, and I think a positive air to the city.
Absolutely.
It brings good vibes.
Absolutely.
And what would you say is the hardest decision you've made so far as a city councilor?
Well, they haven't been necessarily that hard, I don't think, because I was wavering on whether or not to support the amount of money we gave to the University Games, because just based on the fact the university hockey team hasn't been that successful over the years, and whether or not we're going to have a competitive team, that was sort of wavering on me. But the money is there for a reason. We have this fund, and when the opportunity comes, you need to act on it. And that's so there hasn't been really. I mean, we're certainly getting into a budget area. Those are going to be questions. We're going to have to do a lot of debating on a lot of the budget things, and that's coming up. So right now, nothing has been really tough.
Has there been a decision that's been a no-brainer, easy to make?
Oh yeah, well the $500,000 goes to the World Curling Championships. That was to me that was no question. We needed. I thought that was important.
Absolutely. And last question I'll ask you, Mark, is do you think your media background really helped set you up? You kind of touched on this earlier, but set you up for success on city council, like you said, being kind of introduced to diverse groups of people.
Well, just again, my background is asking the questions, being you, and so that definitely helps because I want to know, I want to find out, and I'm not afraid to ask some questions. Sometimes I may not be the best questions, but I want to ask. Yeah. And so I will. I think definitely the background helps.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mark, stay with us because after the break, we're going to ask you a rapid fire round of questions. No. We're back with Mark Campbell, and now we're asking him a rapid-fire round of questions. All right, are you ready, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, first thing that comes to mind, what is your favorite food?
I have to go with spaghetti with meatballs.
Good choice, good choice. Favorite song?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, good.
Scaramouche, will you do the fandango?
Favorite place to go on vacation?
No brainer, Las Vegas.
Good one. What is the one thing you can't live without?
Internet.
Good answer. Favorite season?
Would have to be summer. I do love the summertime. Yeah, the older I get, the less this cold air kind of gets to me. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Good hot summers here in Lethbridge. Inspirational quotes that have inspired you.
I think there's three things come to mind. There's one, I got the opportunity to interview Wayne Newton a few times. Actually, it was really. And he once said to me, find something you love to do, and then you'll never work a day in your life, which is kind of cool. Another one that inspired me, Derek Jeter, there's a thing about, he said, I may not be the most talented player, but there's no excuse for not being the person that works the hardest. That's good. And then there's always my dad's quote, which is, someone will think of something.
Good, I like that. Perfect. Well, you passed the rapid fire round of questions. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for joining us. After the break, we'll be speaking with Belinda Crowson. We're back now on Upfront with the second new face on City Council, Belinda Crowson. Thanks so much for joining us, Belinda. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
Let's start off by talking a little bit about who you are, in case maybe some of the public doesn't exactly know. What's your background?
I'm a teacher and historian. I spent 17 years at the Galt Museum and Archives working as a museum educator. I also volunteer with the Lethbridge Historical Society, and I write books and articles, and have lived my entire life in Southern Alberta.
And I asked Mark this question, but do you think your work with the Galt and some of your other background, as you mentioned, helped kind of set you up for your role on City Council?
Absolutely. It gave me a public persona, but it also helped me to critically think and to know a lot about the historical context of issues facing Lethbridge.
And what made you decide to run for City Council?
I've sat on many different committees over the years and was very involved with the issues and discussing the issues. And I was also used to getting emails and questions from people who wanted background. And so I thought, why not take those ideas and sit at the table? And so I threw my hat into the ring to run for City Council.
Awesome, and here you are.
It worked.
And were you surprised at all by the election results or the election process itself?
You know, I learned a lot throughout the process, and I'm a firm believer in that concept of hope for the best, plan for the worst. I ran the entire election as if I was in last place. So I made sure that, you know, anything I could do, I was out in the snow and the wind waving at people. I was doing my research, preparing for the forums. So I was surprised, you know, because in my mind I had no idea where I would be in the posting. And I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm honored that people have chose me to sit in this position. My friends said that, you know, yeah, it's going to happen, but I always ran as if, no, I'm going to just work, and incredibly, it did go through.
Awesome, I like that. That's good life advice, you know, run as if you're in last, practice, study as if you're in last.
Always work hard. It's the one thing we can all do.
Yes, that's awesome. And what have you learned so far about being on City Council? Is there anything that kind of surprised you now that you're in the hot seat?
You know, even though I had worked for the city and knew the city, the incredible breadth of things that City Council works on. You know, we have to look at things like new clarifiers for the wastewater treatment plant, and then we turn around and look at things like in-talk centers. So there's all these things you have to learn, and it is spending the time and really getting into the issues because you want to do a good job. And that's what's, you know, I knew it was there, but even so, how much the city of Lethbridge has going on its plate.
And is there anything that you would like to accomplish or hope to accomplish during your time on City Council?
You know, I'm going to start with the corny but true answer. My one main goal is to make the lives of people of Lethbridge better. And I think we can accomplish that in so many different ways. One, it's by being as fiscally responsible as we can, but also making sure that we face the needs right on. There are things that are going to cost money that we absolutely need. We can't put that onto future generations. And so it's a matter of balancing all those and figuring out how to get it done.
And is there anything that you think maybe Lethbridge is in need of or something that would really add to the city?
Oh, I could make a list of 100 things we're in need of. That's the reason council's going to be going into strategic planning, because between all of us, we have to come up with what we need to achieve soonest. And so there's a lot of things we know. We know we need an in-talk center. We know we need to look at infrastructure. We know we have to work on homelessness issues. We have, you know, business retention. We have to support our businesses as much as possible. All of these things are so essential, but it's going to be figuring out what we can do in what order and within the budget we have.
And now, big question, would you ever run for mayor?
You know, who knows what the future will hold. At this moment, all I'm dedicated to do is becoming the best city councillor I can be, and we'll let the future unfold the way it will.
I love it. I love that answer. And now let's walk through a day for you as a city councillor. What does a day in the life of Belinda look like?
You know, that's the beauty of this job. There is no typical day. Mondays are devoted entirely to council meetings and to other meetings. I have my office hours Thursday morning so people can set up meetings, but I'm here quite often. I have 9 different committees that I'm sitting on. So the typical day is everything from making sure you go through all the emails and phone calls, making sure you do all your reading, going to the committees, making sure you're available to the public. So there is nothing typical, but it's making sure that within that week you get everything done you need to.
And are there any interesting events that you've been to so far?
I always judge whether something is interesting by whether or not my nieces and nephews are jealous. It's just one of those things, right? When you're cool to your nieces and nephews. Yeah. And so there's been different things I've had an opportunity to do. My nephew, who's in grade 3, was so jealous that I got a complete tour of the fire station and got to, check out the fire trucks and everything like that, while we were also looking at emergency services. So that was certainly one of the ones that was a highlight. But every event I go to, you get to meet such incredible people, learn about the things they're doing, that every event is an honor to be at.
Awesome. I love that. We have such a diverse city, so I'm sure it's always something new.
And it's great. I had a chance to go to a couple businesses, and people, gave me a behind-the-scenes tour. And it's interesting to see how hard the people of Lethbridge work. And when they get to share what they do, it's always interesting.
Wonderful. Love to hear what people are passionate about.
Yes.
And what do you think are some of the biggest issues that are facing Lethbridge right now?
We're facing the issues that so many other communities are doing, right? We have infrastructure that we need to build and figure out how to maintain. We have homelessness issues, poverty issues. As I said, our small businesses are struggling. We need to do something to make sure we're supporting them. There's such a wide number of issues that we're facing, and that's, our job now is to figure out how to work through them.
And do you think that city councillors are doing a good job of being available to the public? You mentioned office hours, answering those emails, taking those phone calls.
Yes, we try our very hardest. We have a job that is part-time, but I think from when I see the work most of my colleagues do, they're available full-time. And so people can get us through phone, through email. When I'm out shopping and people have issues, certainly we stop and talk to people. It's like anything. Of course we can do a better job, and we're always trying to do a better job. If people have ideas of ways that we can communicate better with the public, we'd love to hear about it. But it's something that is a priority for this council, and so we would like to make it better, but we do our utmost to make sure we're available.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I like that too. Always trying to improve, always trying to find new ways to reach the public.
If you were perfect, you probably shouldn't exist,
yeah.
right? Exactly. And so we strive to do better all the time, but it is something we're doing.
Awesome. And what have you learned so far from attending those regular city council meetings? Like you said, every Monday now is devoted to some sort of meeting.
I always call those the horseshoe meetings, right? Because there's so many other meetings. What I find about that is the first thing, and I'm still learning, is the procedure of it all, right? I mean, it very much follows the parliamentary rules and making sure you say things at the right time to get the most impact. I am in awe of my colleagues who just do it so flawlessly. And so for myself, it's that. I don't think it will surprise anybody from my personality. I'm a blurter. When I have something to say, I just want to say it. And so within that system, you have to figure out the right time to say it. And there's been some times I know I've been out of order in a few places, and they've been gracious enough to overlook my tendencies. But I'm working on that, and then to, within that system, make sure you're as effective as possible.
And what would you say to someone who maybe is thinking about running for city council but may have some hesitations about it?
Run. Come and talk to any one of us. I know I was so lucky before I ran to talk to past and present council members who gave me great advice. We need to have a more diverse council. We need a council with, always with changing and new ideas. So please, if you're thinking about it, there's great opportunities. There's websites you can look at on how to create your campaign. And if you are serious, get ready early. Think about it a year or two in advance. Start getting the money in place, start getting your information in place, but absolutely do it. Democracy should involve everybody, and so if you're interested, do it.
That's great advice. I love that. And what do you think about Lethbridge as a tourist destination?
I mean, I worked in a tourist place for 17 years, so I'm very well aware of the incredible venues we have. The Galt Museum, the Southern Alberta Art Gallery, Nika Yuko, and the university's collection. There's so many things here. We have phenomenal venues. There are fabulous stories here. Again, we're constantly looking for new and better ways to get those stories out there. But I think anyone who comes to Lethbridge, if you're willing to take the time to learn about us, to go to these places, you'll have a fabulous time. Don't let anybody fool you. The Chinook is great because you don't have to shovel it. There's a lot to do. We'll continue to get better at it as well. But for myself, there's the stories. There's so many things, and if you come here, we'll make sure you have a good time.
And speaking on tourism, what sorts of events do you think would be an asset to attracting people to Lethbridge?
I'm actually going to turn that around a little bit, because I think there's a balance between attracting events and realizing that we have some venues and people here who are throwing fabulous events. So it's not just bringing people from outside, it's supporting the things that are going on here, because a lot of the events that you see in Galt Gardens and those are internal events. And so that's the balancing act we have to do. Yes, we want to bring in the big world, world curling, and we want to do the hockey and the sports and bring in those events. But first, we have to talk to our local people, find out what we can do to support the local events, and then balance that so that we're assisting local talent as much as we are bringing world venues or world-class stuff here.
Yeah, I love that. And what do you think is maybe the hardest decision so far that you've had to make as a councillor?
Anytime I spend somebody's money, it's a very difficult decision. I don't think people realize that when you are in council, there's only a few things that can disqualify you from service, and one thing is if you don't vote. So when we are sitting in the horseshoe, if we choose not to vote, that can be a disqualifier. And so you've got these big asks for money. You have to vote, and it's very hard because it is people's tax money. And so you do your research and you balance, but those decisions are difficult to make because you realize the long-term impact.
Totally. And was there maybe a decision that just was a no-brainer, made total sense to you?
Maybe it's just myself, but every decision is, right? I do my research on everyone. When you're sitting there, you're very confident about what decision you're making, and so those are easy, but it's the work has gone into making it.
Absolutely, all that research. But I bet you enjoy that part.
Absolutely. Give me a snow day where I can stay home and research any day.
I love it. Is there any final comments that you'd like to make, Belinda?
I think that's the thing I want people to know the most is you will not always agree with my decisions, but realize a lot of thought, work, research has gone into it. I will do everything with integrity. And yes, if you don't agree with me, we can sit and talk about it, but realize I'm going to do my very best job.
Thank you so much, Belinda. But don't go anywhere because after the break, we've got those rapid fire questions for you.
Sounds good.
We're back one last time with Belinda, now asking her a rapid fire round of questions. Are you ready, Belinda?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do this. What is your favorite food?
Anything chocolate.
Good answer. Good answer. What's your favorite song?
That's so hard. I have playlists that I like instead. A few years ago, I put together a playlist for the Historical Society of Alberta on all songs that have to do with Alberta. So when I'm driving around doing work and research, I play Alberta songs, but I also have a playlist that is protest songs. So in those moods when I'm, thinking of that, those sort of songs. And then if I just need that pick-me-up, anything by Louis Armstrong. What a Wonderful World.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good choice. I like those playlists too. More people should have an Alberta playlist.
Absolutely. Actually, you can find it online if you're looking for it, and then you have to go find and download the songs.
Oh, hey, that's a great idea. There you go. Something to do on a snowy day.
Absolutely.
Where's your favorite place to go on vacation?
Favorite place to go on vacation is any place I can go where I can get away and write.
Yes.
Cabin, trailer, my basement, any place I can go write.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. And what is the one thing that you can't live without?
There's 3 things I can't live without. Family, friends, and books.
Perfect. That's a great combination, those
Yes.
3 things. And what's your favorite season?
I love fall. I know New Year's is January 1st, but to me, New Year's has always been September, back to school. To me, that's when everything starts going. So give me a beautiful fall day anytime.
I like that. I think that too. I like the new year in the fall. And are there any inspirational quotes that have inspired you?
There's a couple. I love the one, and I'm going to paraphrase them. It's amazing what we can achieve if we don't care who gets the credit. That's one of my favorite. And then I also like those who think it's impossible should get out of the way of the people doing it.
Love it.
So
those are awesome. Those are great. And I think great models for City Council.
Absolutely. Right, just go and do it.
Yes, awesome. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Belinda, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in to this edition of Upfront. We'll see you next time.